Hi everyone, my name is Matt Lachlan and thanks very much for coming today. We're gathered today as members of our community concerned about Apuron's proposed Chalumbin Wind Farm development. This meeting is about you, the community having your say and your voices being heard. I'll provide an overview of some of the key points and then Kate will take a second microphone around so that everybody can have their say. I'll begin by stating a few facts. These are sourced directly from Apuron's Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act, hereafter EPBC. The development directly threatens 3,089.46 acres of land bordering the Wet Tropics World Heritage Area. That is the actual development footprint. This site is home to 200 species of animals, including 3 endangered and vulnerable species. Let's use Apuron's own wording to outline the threat this development poses on these species. Other than converting from hectares to acres, the following are direct quotes from the EPBC. Red goshawk endangered, quote, the project may lead to the clearing of 407.72 acres of habitat critical to the survival of the species and 2,532.48 acres of potential habitat for the species, end quote. To provide some perspective, a 2009 report estimated the Queensland population of the red goshawk at just 134 to 140 pairs. There's no more recent data than that. Magnificent blue frog, endangered, quote, the project may lead to the clearing of 66.79 acres of habitat critical to the survival of the species and 52.26 acres of potential habitat for the species. Northern greater glider, quote, the project will involve the removal of 1,391.87 acres of potential habitat and 139.84 acres of critical habitat. The removal of approximately 139.84 acres of critical habitat is considered likely to constitute a significant impact on the species, end quote. I need to point out that in their submission, Apuron refers to the northern greater glider as a subspecies. This is incorrect. In 2020, it was declared a distinct species. Therefore, the current classification of vulnerable is wrong, and it too will likely be declared an endangered species. The next quotation applies to all 3 species. Despite the sensitive design measures and the avoidance, minimisation and mitigation measures proposed, the project is conservatively assessed at having a potential significant residual impact on the species. Now, Apuron talk about environmental offsets and net positive outcomes of buying land elsewhere to create habitat for this species and contributing to new or existing research. The fact is, destroying habitat critical to the survival of endangered species cannot be counterbalanced by ticking approval boxes, purchasing parcels of land elsewhere and claiming they are creating habitat for the endangered species is a con. The development site is their habitat and no amount of spin can change that. Critical research has been commenced into the extremely restricted habitat of the magnificent brood frog. This only began in February this year and is expected to take 2 years. Apuron stating they will contribute to research while destroying the very habitat scientists need to study is truly astounding. So let's talk about the site in question, Chalumbin. I see a lot of spin going on stating this is clear pasture land. Just cattle country, right? Well, I'll defer to the EPBC and the 255-page mines report prepared by ecologists, and I quote, remnant vegetation accounts for the vast majority, 95% of the project area, and was generally observed to be in good condition. What's remnant vegetation? According to a government website, remnant vegetation can be defined as those patches of native trees, shrubs, and grasses still left. Remnant vegetation is rapidly disappearing due to clearing, etc. The small remnants of native vegetation that remain are valuable. Are cattle on these properties? Yes. Are these properties cleared pasture land? Absolutely not. With cleared land in abundance on the tablelands and with deforestation the second leading cause of climate change, this development defies all credibility. How can the clearing and fragmentation of this land possibly be justified? Short answer, it can't. The truth is, this is not about green power. With transmission lines close by and huge taxpayer-funded subsidies, This is about the profit of installing 95 wind turbines on this site. It is about exorbitant corporate greed at the complete disregard of our environmental consequences. How much money are we talking about? According to a 2005 Senate Select Committee report into wind turbines, on a conservative estimate, in excess of $500,000 annually per turbine. So for Chalumbin, that equates to $47.5 billion per year of our money. Apuron's business model is to gain approval but on-sell the project. In 3 out of 7 cases, this is to a Chinese multinational. How can we give any credibility to assurances made by a company that will not even be here to develop the site? So let's talk about Apuron and the representation here today. Now I'd like to make it crystal clear that I've refused all attempts by Apuron and their agents to meet in private, and there have been many approaches. As I have said all along, meetings should be done in public consultation forums such as the one here today. On the 3rd of November, Apuron's development manager, Paul Stanger, emailed me. He said in part, "We would welcome the opportunity to meet you in person to discuss your concerns. Please advise of a convenient time." On the 16th, I replied inviting Paul to attend this meeting here today. I received a reply in part stating, "A new general manager for Queensland has just started. He is acquainting himself and will be introduced to the community as soon as he is up to speed. In the meantime, I am the main contact." As I am based in Sydney and not able to attend in person, we would like Kim Ford to attend, listen and take questions on notice that we give responses to. 3 nights ago, Paul emailed me again, backpedaling, stating, "Providing the community meeting is well organised and respectful, Kim may be available to attend for up to an hour. Kim is not from Apuron, will not respond or speak on Apuron's behalf. I trust that you will ensure Kim is not targeted or made to feel uncomfortable in any way. Rest assured, Apuron, we will not treat you in the manner that you treated us on September the 16th. We have chairs for you to sit on. We will listen to what you have to say. We will not disrespect your elders. We will not refuse to give our names, and we will not go and hide in the back room like you did. Kim, you'll be treated with respect, and we expect the same in return." Paul goes on to say, "We are keen to connect, to provide you a briefing and listen to your concerns. Please let us know if you'd like to schedule this." Well, Paul, I did let you know. You had 6 to 8 staff here in September, but couldn't even arrange one today. You're available to meet me privately, but won't meet us collectively as a community. Why is that? Through researching the company's track record, it became clear that Apuron has a history of seeking to develop sites in areas of extreme environmental sensitivity. They seek to do so without consultation. I've been told multiple times that Apuron tried to, quote, "divide and conquer" by meeting individuals privately. Having seen some evidence of this firsthand, I find it extremely disturbing. As with previous developments, there are so-called grants on offer to the community. These are used to gain favour, leverage and as a PR tool. Personally, I view this as tainted money. Kim Ford is a very successful and I would submit highly paid consultant that has worked for other industrial wind developments. What exactly her involvement with Apuron is best answered by her, although from what I can gather, she is contracted as a PR expert to spin Apuron's story favourably. When contacted by Kim Ford in October, I made it very clear I would engage with her only at community forums. At this point, Kim, I'd ask you to stand and make yourself known to the community. And I now hand this meeting over to you, the community, to have your say. Kate's got a mic.
Okay, just take a question here.
Thanks, Matt. And I share your concerns about the development, but in 2019 I spent Christmas morning fighting fires in rainforests that never burnt down in the southeast Queensland area. Similar structure to what we face up here. Never burnt before in Queensland's history. I opposed clearing for renewables, but at 2 degrees, 99% of the reef's gone. 2 degrees above historic levels. 2 to 3 degrees, we can't feed ourselves in Australia, and most of the forest we are now talking about is dead in fire, down into Savannah. And drought, because of drought and fire, and also Brazilian rainforest is gone in that context as well. We need 75% renewables by 2030 to keep it between 1.5 to 2 degrees, to keep the tipping points heading up above that 2 to 3 degree level. 21,000 spectacled blind boxes died, as the woman said. It's horrific, climate change. I had a mate that helped shovel that, it was climate change that occurred. We've got Longbolt's possum dying in the highlands of these forests already, dying because of climate change. We've got rangers up there monitoring their dead bodies. Land clearing laws, we talk about land clearing laws, it's not a pastoral estate. The Katter Party introduced amendments under the Labor government land clearing laws to allow land clearing to occur on pastoral estates that are at least as wide as these roads that are going to occur because of this development. Alright, so my question is, firstly, if Carolyn is a farmer, then I'm a coal miner. She made her money off Shed Boss and other places. So given all this forest is dead in 20 to 30 years from climate anyway, show us how we're going to stop this climate catastrophe. So my message isn't to Kim, it's to you guys.
Can I make it very clear that we are not here today against renewable energy? We are here today, this meeting is about Chalumbin. We are here today for a community consultation meeting about Chalumbin. There is plenty of clear pasture land on the tablelands where these developments can go. We are not against that. We are against these developments occurring on high impact areas for endangered species, 95% remnant vegetation.
Questions? Hang up first. My name is Bill Bray. I'm interested in all of these things because I'm a member of Northern Gulf Resource Management Group, Barron Catchment Care, Mitchell River Watershed Management Group, Catholic Birds Life Australia. So I've got an interest in all of this. And our problem here at the moment is what our friend over here said is climate change. And climate change is being caused through fossil fuel industry. And the fossil fuel industry is supporting the anti-wind farm groups. So it's one of those real, you saw the one on America, and they were actually, the coal-fired co-brothers over there were supporting the anti-wind farm group. So is it true that they're also the fossil fuel industry supporting the anti-wind farm groups here? Well, it's a question I have. And are they, we've got Pauline Hanson who comes along here who is very much anti-climate change, or she's a climate change denier. Bob Catter is, well, we don't know what Bob Catter is actually, but he's also said that he's against climate change. So, is this group against climate change, or is it just on the one area we're talking about? Because the whole presentation was to do with wind farms around Australia. You had wind farms down in Wilson's Promontory. That's just down the road from the big brown coal, your lawn industry, which, if you recall, they just about burnt all the forest down in Victoria. Yep. So the question is, are you people really in favour of saving wind farms, or are you just a wedge for the fossil fuel industry?
I'd like to answer that firstly on behalf of myself and those of us here. Then I'll pass it to Rainforest Reserves and they can answer the question. There is a distinction. The meeting previously was a Rainforest Reserves presentation. This is a community meeting specifically on Chalumbin. I can tell you, mate, I'm not paid by anybody. Nobody pays me. I've refused to meet with people individually despite being asked. I'm a community member here on my own merits, as are you, as is everyone else here.
Hi, Bill.
Hello, Bill.
Yeah, so I'm a financial member of the Queensland Conservation Council and North Queensland Conservation Council, the Cairns and Far North Environment Centre, Australian Conservation Foundation, the Wildlife Society, WIPSCU, Wildlife Preservation Society of Queensland, and I'm not taking any donations from the fossil fuel industry, I can tell you that. The issue my personal issue is I'm very concerned about the industrialisation of the western side of the Wet Tropics World Heritage Area. If this was occurring in Tasmania in the World Heritage there, the Bob Brown Foundation has successfully stopped 2 big wind turbine industrial complexes in Tasmania, and no one's lambasting Bob Brown for stopping 2 big turbines to industrial scale renewables. So from my perspective, it's really just the Atherton Tablelands and the very high density of renewables here. So we've got High Road up the road, Chalumbin, Burdekin, Mount Fox, expansion of Windy Hill. So basically Ravenshoe is going to be surrounded by a ring of steel, and there's a lot of questions to be asked about where that electricity is going. Is it to be exported to other countries? Because there's enough power. If all those developments were developed, there'd be enough power there for many, many hundreds of thousands of homes. And does this community benefit from that as well?
We've got another question here. Before we proceed to the next question, can I ask that you not make it a personal forum for your own belief system? This is about questions, and please stick to questions, very specific and not wordy, because we don't have much time.
Hi, my name's Jason. I'd just like to ask, how long has the Mount Emerald wind farm been on?
3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
So you showed us 2 photographs of which one was before,
Correct.
right? And that probably took 100 couple of years? That probably took 100 odd years to produce before the wind farm went in?
What do you mean, the ecology?
No, the actual area, how it looked, all the grasses, all the lovely little flowers.
Depends if you believe
You
in
see,
these
I just found it a little bit difficult to take. I just found it a little bit difficult to take that you're showing a photo that was a couple of months or maybe a year old, and compare it to something that's taken maybe 100 years to do. You can't really compare the two because of the time. 4 frogs in an area doesn't define the habitat.
It was 4 populations.
Yeah, it doesn't define the habitat. If I see 20 cane toads in my front yard, it doesn't mean they're the only cane toads on my property.
Can I answer that one?
Yes. There's quite a few points that I want you to answer. Windy areas tend not to be developed, so they tend to be nature grounds. Blades are now recyclable. What was that? Germany has been creating recyclable blades for the last 5 years. So that argument is down the toilet. And we have to remember, technology always improves. This is new science.
Bullshit. It does. It improves. Does it improve?
James Watt produced the first steam engine. And it's a lot different to what they are now.
Can I just remind everybody, this meeting is about Chalumbin. This meeting is not about batteries.
Hold on.
Relevant.
I'm off grid. I don't have a carbon footprint. Okay? So I'm doing like this. Who here is off grid? Okay? So that's the thing. If you go off grid, you produce your own power. Is Chalumbin public or private land?
Damn straight.
Chalumbin is 2 stations. Part of it is leasehold, part of it is privately owned. Yeah.
So we don't have much rights in telling them what they can and can't do.
We have every right to defend our environment.
We do, yes, but not on private land, because we can't stop farmers and clearing properties either, can we?
Hand the mic over, mate. I think you're done. respond to those questions first. Okay, with regards to the wind blades being recyclable, absolutely, yes they are now, because they're made of pet foam. And it's a highly intensive fossil fuel driven process where those blades are flaked and then heated.
That's right.
Well, that's the information I've got. You've had your question, we're answering now. Okay, so as far as they're not a problem, there are 7,500 turbine fan blades being buried every year around the world, cut in three with a diamond blade. So, yeah, that's every year, and that's going to be probably for the next 15 years. Right, there was one other question, and I'm going to hand over.
So in terms of the magnificent roof rock, they're only found at 800 to 900 metres elevation in the Ironsley uplands in rock seepages, so they're very specific, and we're still learning more about those frogs. In terms of Mount Emerald, you can actually download their power output publicly. So for the month of October, Mount Emerald had 23 dropouts to 0. The average time of dropouts was just under 2 hours, with the longest being 26 hours. And it generated, and there was 230 hours with no output out of Mount Emerald. So for 237 hours in the month of October, it generated zilch. And that's a $353 million project. For the month of October, it produced 50 megawatt, is 30%, it only produced 50 megawatt, 30% of the installed capacity.
And that's what's happening in Britain, Germany and France. Right.
So that's for the month of October.
For fuel,
Sorry? No. So next question.
I have a question over here, Stephen. Mike, back to you, please.
Hello everybody. I'm here for my mum. To get a ball. And my mum bought me and they're going to go to show. You know what to do? No, it's got to stop. Because I mean, we have the problem too. That's why I come in here today, talk about the snow has to stop. Yeah.
Thank you, Ron.
Oh, I was just wondering what the wet tropics opinions are. Has anyone approached the wet tropics? Because these areas are bordering so close to the wet tropics areas, yet I don't feel that I don't think I've heard anything about their opinions on it or whether they think it's good or bad or what, you know?
Yeah, so the wet tropics remain... Yeah, so the Wet Tropics Management Authority is staying fairly neutral on the issue, which is disheartening because I couldn't imagine, like I said, the Tasmanian World Heritage Area or Uluru Katajuda World Heritage Area or Blue Mountains World Heritage Area or Kakadu World Heritage Area, those authorities or the managing authorities for those departments actually sitting on their hands and saying nothing. So it's been a disappointing response from the Wet Tropics Management Authority. And I suppose in some ways they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, I've seen climate change occurring in the high altitudes. There's less cloud, there's drying out in the high altitude areas. And we've all been advocating for the last 2 decades for a fast transition to renewables. So, and then to backpedal and say, look, we don't want renewables right next to the World Heritage Area. It's a very fine line for them to walk on. So I think they're trying to develop a policy around that. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
As a local, I actually live out at Wawara. I've been there on Wawara Road near Glen Gordon for about 18 years now. And I've noticed over those 18 years that there is a lot of birds, animals that use that area. They go inland when there is a cyclone approaching. Now these studies of biodiversity and wildlife are only done over a short period of time. Not a lot of depth is taken, not a lot of consideration. And what I've noticed, this has only happened twice while I've been living in that area. And as soon as a cyclone is approaching off the coast, this happened in Cyclone Larry and Yasi, we had a mass migration of bats and of birds that came from the coast, and they go inland as a sanctuary. Now when this happens, this is a natural process. We look at things on a short-term level. These windmills, 20 years. Do you realise that? And I was wondering, you know, what impact is it going to have? Are we just going to have massacres of these birds and bats? The skies go black with them. They feel the depression off the coast and they come inland. What is going to happen to all of these? They are going to be chewed up with the blades, like we see. Have a think about it, what we're doing. Is it worth cutting down this ecological site of absolute outstanding beauty and creating another disaster? We're trying to have renewable energies and then create another one that's bigger.
Thank you. Before we continue, I just noticed we have a politician here today. Ms. Jennifer Cox is the candidate standing for the federal election. So thanks, Jennifer, for coming.
Would you like to say something, Jennifer? I'm not good with politicians.
Well, first of all, I'm not a politician. You have to get voted in to be a politician. I'm here to listen to you, really. I want to hear what everyone else has to say. But as for the Greens, well, we want both. We want renewable energy, a concerted national plan to have renewable energy from transition from fossil fuels, and we want it as quickly as possible because we have climate change. It is one of the biggest, well, it is the biggest threat for all of us. But we also want greater accountability for all developments, not just wind farms. We want, for fossil fuel companies, of course, all developments. And we want a independent environmental protection agency. So more accountability, more independence. And I'm really, really looking forward to the environmental impact statement. And that's my main question is, when is that happening and when will it be finished? Thank you.
Okay, I've got a question down here.
My name is Georgina. I'm here to represent People by Others. That's the people of this country. The others haven't had a say in any of this, from both sides. And I've taken it upon myself that the elders' voice be heard. Now, you can argue a million things, but is anybody considering our culture? That rainforest, that's who we are. We are people of the rainforest. That rainforest starts dying, so does our culture. So do we as a people. How do I explain to my children that our culture is extinct because we needed renewable energy? 20 years from now, my kids will still be here. I may not be. But how do I explain that to them? Because we needed electricity. Our culture means more to us than anything else. My daughter, she is a sugar glider. That is her totem. My son is a goanna. How do I explain that their animals don't have homes anymore? Because we needed electricity. What about us? What about our culture? What about us as people? Where do we belong in all this? Where do we have a say? Where are our elders and our ancestors respected? It's not about the people, it's about the country and where we come from. We belong to that land, and that land does not belong to us. Therefore, we need to respect it and look after it.
Would the representatives from Eperon, if they're here, like to respond to that at all? Are there any Eperon representatives here? Okay, I'll move on to the next question then. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to pay my respects to the original custodians of this land and for being here and speaking in this way today. That's to everyone. My question is to the speakers. I'd like to know that in your experience, what have you found that actually works for us to be able to stop the progression and the development of this project?
Yeah, well, there's the two in Tasmania that was stopped with the Bob Brown Foundation. I'm a firm believer of non-violent direct action, and that's one avenue you can go down. Well, really the main avenue we've got now, we've got Susan Lay coming up in January, the Federal Environment Minister. She's really the only person that can decide the outcome of Chalumbin and Upper Burdekin. And we need to really make our voices heard to her and make it very clear to her that the environment is too precious to go, is too precious, and us as a community, we don't want that in our backyards either. So, yeah, I think it's just really a people campaign. I think Rainforest Reserves has done a fantastic job trying to unite the community, educate. We've been educating the community far more than what Eberron has, and we need to just unite and fight. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, good day. Mine's a very simple question. We must, to stop these ridiculous developments, even though I'm a big supporter of wind farms, we must support and change the laws for the traditional owners. The traditional bloody owners of this country have first right of refusal, not just here but all over the country. The traditional owners are not being heard. Greens, Labor, Katter, LNP, you're guilty of hanging the traditional owners out to dry. You're guilty of using their traditional culture. Well, get behind the traditional owners now. They're saying no. So all of you in this room have only one option. Say no or walk away. Thank you.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is James Harry. I've been fighting against the, you won't hear me say wind farms, that's it. You will not hear me say that word again. They are not those things, they are industrial power complexes. End of story. The sheer size of them, farms produce something, these things don't. That aside, I've been looking at this for 4 years now with Caban, and Caban is a test case for what's going on from here down to south of Rockhampton. Now what I've found out has been pretty disturbing, and we can see the actions that are happening right now. For example, Cairns Post has got photographs up today of the first part of the platforms that the turbines will go on. They were unloaded last night in Cairns, and they are enormous. Tomorrow we have a power outage in this town from 8:30 till 3 o'clock along this main street while they take down the power lines so that they can bring these components through our town and out to Tamulin and out to the Caban side. Now, I've done a lot of work on this, and I've done a lot of studying, and I've talked to a lot of people in the industry, and the thought that someone would come here and say that we are pro-fossil fuel or paid by them, or even that we are climate deniers, is extremely offensive to people like me.
Hear, hear.
I'm just a concerned community member. I know, I can see what's going on. I can see the damage it's doing to this town in particular. There's supposed to be an economic boom with these jobs, but as I've found out, when they're talking about 300,000 jobs in the renewable industry, that is a complete and utter lie. Not just a falsehood, but a lie. And I'll tell you why I know this. Is because out here at Caban, there's approximately 350 contractors. Now, they work in 3 phases, and feel free to call me wrong on this, but It's pretty much laid out in their platform, and they make no bones about it. Everything's written for you there to see. So 350 contractors with the first stage, which I like to call the destruction stage. Now these companies are smart. No one ever said they weren't. Right? So what happens is these 350 contractors come in, supplemented with local contractors who get a quick sugar hit for maybe a year of the destructive phase. Then those 350 workers go on to the next project. So that's not 700 workers, that's 350, it's not cumulative. So the way they've structured the Queensland Renewable Energy Zone is that Caban is the pivotal point for the whole of the north. Then you'll work in a line all the way down the hills to south of Rockhampton. Now it's the same 350 workers that move from one project to the next, and that's because they're following the transmission line. So when they're talking about 300,000 jobs, I might not be the smartest guy, but I know bullshit when I see it. Right? So the economic side for a town like this is nonsense. If you walk along any of the businesses in this town, you'll find out that they haven't made any money out of contracts or anything like that. So that's just a little bit of background, but how do we fix this? Right, first of all, we can't blame the companies. Companies like Neoen, at Caban, Epuron, all these people, we can't blame them because they are only taking advantage of the piss poor contract writing and the piss poor sort of laws that our government, our state government have allowed. Right? So first of all, don't blame the companies. If you go in and study this, it's called the QREZ, Queensland Renewable Economic Zone, and look at section 23, which is all about wind turbines, you can read everything there that they're exempt from. That is, they are exempt from all environmental impacts, they're exempt from all water management, they're exempt from all traffic access, they're exempt from electromagnetics, they're exempt from visual destruction, they're also exempt from any audio stuff. Now I'm not making this up, all you have to do is look it up. Section 23 of the QREZ. Right? That means if we want to stop these people, we have to pressure the government to change section 23, and that will stop them in their tracks.
Are there any more questions? And can we please stick to questions?
So thanks, Ken. With the Queensland Renewable Energy Zone, that's a discussion paper that's out at the moment, open to comments. It's 24 pages long, and the word environment doesn't feature once. It's all about aviation hazards and everything else except the environment. It's an absolute farce. So that's a really big issue. And the State Code 23, like Ken said, gives the ability to exempt a lot of the things that we take for granted, like environmental protection. So, yeah, thanks, Ken.
Hello everybody. My name is Tom Gertz. My traditional name is Mudkey. I'm born in 1963. My family was the first family to be accepted into the African community. I worked with my old people in the days, through the bush. They showed me how I can track, how I can listen, how I know when my fruit and how the next season's coming in. Over the years, I said to my father, I'll tell you, I'm connected through my mother's bloodline, I'm longer by the bloodline, through my father's mother, I'm Girmay. And my great-grandmother got brought from Cooktown by the Atkinsons and brought back down in this country here. Now, you want to walk ahead, we all need to stand together and you need to work with the traditional people. We all need to bring them into the circle and we all need to work. Even if we've got about half a dozen of them, we work with it. See, the government is now, I went away from here, I left in 79. I went out to Mount Isa and I worked in the hotel, worked in the mining industry. I became the first head ball underground. I was the first bomber. I was in fire safety. Oh mate, I could go all day what I did in my lifetime. And I said to my father, why am I leaving my community? I want to stay here and run my country and do what it is. He said, you go and learn the white man's way and they think in it. And then you come back with your expertise and you come back to your community and you put it in place. I came back up in 20 years, I came back in 96. I was very, very, very disgusted with what was going on. The governments are not coming to their people. Understand, wet tropics hold all our information, all my old people's information. Land Council hold all our information. They're using it as a fire tool against the Western world, against you people. And that's how you've got to understand it today. We don't come inside and walk together, and you just want to walk the one line, you will get cut down. But they will cut you down. But you need to work with the Aboriginal people, all work together and stand up together. Because when I come back to my country and I went, these are the people live in the country here. There was nobody living in our part of the region. Like I said, actually, my land, I can go and hunt my tucker, I can do this and I can do that one. And then a white man come on and say, well, you can't do that. I still go and do it anyway, regardless. You know, but at the end of the day, that's what we're up against. And I'm very, very passionate about my land. I've been to the economic world and how they get their money, how the white men get these chemists and come in and take a big hole out of the ground, leave a big hole right there. R62 in the mines in MIM is a resort they're reopening the big open cutting in. And it's terrible. They have killed that part of the land. But they're trying to restore it now. But I come back here now and I was with my first time people with the name of fire up here. Because there's some information that was given to me that I never handed over to the other people because it was too graphic what they told me. But we need to all stand up together and walk on this. And if we all want to walk individually, they're going to shoot us down. And when we go forward, we all go together and stand up on them. I was in the era when MIM, the last Australian mine, when we had a big strike. 300 families walked out of their homes and parked their cars and everything down the powerhouse and had a big camp right there. Pizza Hut, KFC came out incredible. They didn't want the money from the mine. You need to look after us. So they did. But still, man, I was just really, really bugging out because I walked away from the mine because being underground, I see where they put the big rainbow a hole through, come through really neat, but when they put the water rainbow back out, because it was spring right there, it came through and it went in the name. A $30 billion rainbow I was still sitting there today. You know, it's just really killing the waterways and killing our wildlife. And when I walk out of that country, around here now, I see a lot of things changing now. And I've got to ask you, in the spirit world, can you help us, please? Can we all get together and we work on this together, you know? Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Is there any other questions and then hand over? Before I hand over, just like to say a big thank you to Tom. We wouldn't have this question time today without him. He has provided all of the speakers and the microphones, and I'd just like you all to say thanks to him.
I'm Rosie Gray. I live in Ravenscoe. I'd like to remind everyone that our forests are the lungs of our planet. As we cut down our forests, we actually asphyxiate ourselves. We may have already reached the point of no return. My question to each one of us is, should the greed of our government and the profiteering of large multinationals take precedence over our survival? Are we stupid or not?
Another question over here. Gail?
I've been here listening to all this, and it's been wonderful to see all the people. Is this on? Closer. Oh, there. I was just wondering, I get a bit bamboozled in my head sometimes, and I want to do things, help and do things, I've signed a petition somewhere online, and what actually constructive thing can we actually do? Can we physically do, at the moment? Lobby, it's great, I know where my mind sits with this, but what action can I take, as an individual? Okay?
I'm going to hand over to Matt, who's probably going to respond to that. One thing that we could do, we are against these turbines. There's some volunteer forms over there if you'd like to join this campaign. We are all volunteers. We are community members. We are not getting paid. We are for green energy. This is not green energy.
Kate, can you just clarify, please, we're against all wind farms or against the Chalumbin development wind farms?
I speak for myself, I'm against the Chalumbin because it's an inappropriate siting.
Thanks for your question. As you say, it is hard to understand how we can individually help, but certainly filling out petitions, attending meetings like this today, writing to your MPs, writing to the Environment Minister, spreading the word. A lot of people don't know this is happening. So just by telling people about it and making more people aware has a massive impact. We're trying to do everything legal, across every legal avenue to have this stopped. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes, some of it you've heard about today, some not necessarily so. Just staying in touch with Keep Chalumbin Wild, and just, being part of the community.
Any other question online that was going to go to Parliament? Has it been presented in Parliament yet?
There was two petitions. One was to the Federal Minister, Suzanne May, that has been presented. The one that goes to the one that's still, for the Queensland Parliament, still active. I'm not exactly sure. I think that ends in February, but it's still active. So they're both Parliament. There's another one for Queensland Parliament.
I think it might have been Parliament.
Can I ask what are the sustainable energies that you are for and how are you promoting them?
Personally, I'm here today just about Chalumbin, nothing else. I'm not against wind farms, just not on this site. Put it on clear pasture land where it doesn't affect the wilderness. That's the end of it. I don't have any views past that.
If you don't offer an alternative, then we're just going to rely on coal and gas.
Not at all. There's plenty of clear pasture land around where this wind farm could go other than Chalumbin.
This is a song about my life. And a little river on the edge of her that we call 40 Yard Creek. Try and get this going. I'm on the road, I'm going home past 40 Yard Creek. Going home, I was in the region till the turn. Oh, I see wild everything, the mountains sparkle like my face in a pool of water. On Tuesday, going home where my life is gone and the lonely place on the telephone. And she says the lonely place, I've done nothing today. And tomorrow it don't change, 'cause
Are there any more questions?
Hello everybody. Yeah, look, Denver comes from Australia. That's what we call a rainforest. And we all got together. All our laws are beautiful. Just fine. We've all got together. We've all got together to stop it. We don't want our rainforest cut down. And we've got to set it up. Me and my sister, Mom, and Dad, and little one. So there's a lot then. And Mum, it's a dad had there for like, it's nothing. Now she was there. I don't feel I've done that time. I've said about it. Because my son was there in a forest. You heard of duck forest? You heard of duck forest? Duck forest. Well, my son is there. This is as room my next is. I've never heard of being a prayer in the paper. It's a duck forest. The other man is comes out the running the prayer. Duck about boys in band and they're upset, you know, they're in Canada. Well, anyway, I'd rather come up with a music. Coming up, you look at this kind of thing coming up. Parents coming up.
Thank you, I just want to say one thing here, that nobody's saying how simple and straightforward this whole situation really is. The point is we have a private company, a multinational company that is in this for the money. It's a private company doing a deal with private landowners, and we are just the collateral damage. The only thing they're after is money. So that's how simple it is. Whatever about environmental laws and all the other stuff, I say, use your God-given sense that we've all been given, keep it in a straight line in your head, and let's all just stick together and do something about this.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming today, for contributing to the discussion. There's obviously a lot more to be said and will keep you updated. Stop chalumbinwindfarm.com and keep it on the ball.